know you're against the certain vaccines, but like the polio vaccine, people had polio. It was like a disaster. And they came up, Dr. Salk, and he came up with a vaccine, and there's no polio. Now, very interesting, there hasn't been polio, but now in the Gaza Strip, can you believe that? Have you heard that? There's been a big strain of polio coming out in the Gaza Strip.
Is it vaccine-derived polio?
We need to address polio. After all, didn't Dr. Salk's 1955 polio vaccine eradicate polio like we are all told? Well, only if Dr. Salk also invented a time machine to go back 7 years to December 1948 and give out his vaccines, when polio cases were almost non-existent already. The exact same year when farmers stopped spraying food crops with lead arsenate pesticides when DDT became widely available. Unfortunately, it was short-lived. As it turned out, DDT was an even more dangerous neurotoxin than lead arsenate. And right after the mass crop spraying of DDT in early 1949, a new spike of polio cases suddenly arose that was 80% higher than the lead arsenate was causing. It didn't help that they were also spraying this neurotoxin on the streets, in the water supply, in their gardens, and even on people and children. The word poliomyelitis was coined from the Greek words polios, meaning gray, and myelos, meaning marrow, plus itis, which means inflammation. Thus the word means inflammation of the gray matter of the spinal cord, the brain, or wherever in the body gray matter is found. Every cell in the human body contains a small amount of gray matter. Inflammation is the result of poisoning. This poisoning damage, decay, and disintegration of cell structure can result in paralysis and, in around 5 to 10% of cases, even death. As Dr. McBean points out, isolated germs have never been known or proven to attack and cause decay and disease in any part of the body. And so polio was never eradicated by Salk's vaccine because vaccines do not eradicate nervous system poisoning. Polio is not a virus. That is an unproven theory. It is a toxic inflammation disease that was simply rebranded or renamed into several other medical terms, like Guillain-Barré syndrome, transverse myelitis, multiple sclerosis, and a few others that have the exact same poisoning symptoms of gray matter that polio did, so they can give credit to the vaccine for eradicating the disease and now blame a new disease for the damage their same vaccines are causing. There they are, in Pfizer's 9-page list of 1,300 diseases their COVID-19 vaccine has caused worldwide: Guillain-Barré syndrome, multiple sclerosis relapse, multiple sclerosis relapse prophylaxis, myelitis, and myelitis transverse, or transverse myelitis, or polio. We see this over and over again when sanitation and hygiene improvements, the stopping of certain vaccines and toxic medicines, or the removal of environmental toxins already has a disease on a downward trend toward eradication. And then they come out with a vaccine near the end of the trend and claim it eradicated that disease, as seen here in the US and UK when the Salk polio vaccines came out in the late 1950s. And the same here with measles, scarlet fever, typhoid, whooping cough, and diphtheria. All of them were declining and well on their way to rarity, and then the vaccines came out and took credit for it, like the diphtheria vaccine in 1920, which may have even been the cause for a 2-year spike in diphtheria. Whooping cough was nearly gone when its vaccine came out in the late 1940s, and the 1963 measles vaccine is a joke, as it was less than 1 death per 100,000 people who expressed it since 1947. Dr. McBean's book, The Poison Needle, covered in detail the other causes of polio besides vaccination and pesticides, and you can pause and look at this overview if you like.